Chris said, you know, that you could start your morning run with a Pop-Tart. And I just thought that was hilarious because those brown sugar Pop-Tarts or cinnamon Pop-Tarts are what I ate so many of those in college. Like, I can't even tell you, that was like a staple. That and Snapple, drank a lot of Snapple, and I ate a lot of Pop-Tarts. I don't know about anybody else, but so what did you guys think about that?
I was
or about his talk. Yeah, go ahead.
I was shocked because I don't know, you think you're going to hear all of this healthy eating and, you know, all that you hear in the media of how you should be eating, like organic and natural, and then to hear a Pop-Tart, I was like, what? And then the other one that I thought was interesting was chocolate milk for recovery.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, chocolate milk has become like a really big thing. And then there's a muscle milk and all these things with protein in it. But chocolate milk is like just, well, first of all, it's delicious. And then it's just an easy thing. You can buy like the little single ones of it to keep, you know, it's just that balance between protein and sugar and everything that you need. So, but yeah, the Pop-Tart thing, I think a lot of people got thrown off with that. And once he kind of explained, like for me, I usually eat a English muffin and peanut butter. So it's just something quick and easy that your stomach can digest. And sometimes people feel like they can't eat anything in the morning. So that could be a good option for people if you feel like you have trouble stomaching anything. But I don't know, did anybody try it? I did walk past the Pop-Tarts the other day, but there were like no baskets at Giant Eagle. I don't know if we don't have like the single baskets anymore. So everything I had was like in my arms and I had no free hand to grab the Pop-Tarts, which is probably good because I would have enjoyed eating them. So, all right. So talking about today, we're going to talk about pain medication. And I know that most of you guys know all this, that NSAIDs are not good for you when you're running. So NSAIDs are non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, and that falls into the category of one of my favorite drugs, Advil, Aleve, or Motrin. So does anybody take those kinds of things? Yeah. So we have to be careful when we are running that we don't take them during a long event, a long run. And that's really hard advice to give sometimes because I've been in plenty of marathons where I needed some Advil because my feet hurt. And that was not the right thing to do because it can cause kidney injuries. And there are people who end up in the hospital because they have consumed ibuprofen and then become super dehydrated, and their kidneys kind of can't handle that.
Brenda?
And when you're, yeah, go ahead.
Is it acceptable at night after you run?
After you run
when's the appropriate time?
I think you have to ask yourself why you're taking it. So if you're taking it after you run because you have aches and pains, you know, it may not help you with the inflammation if that's what you're trying to get at. Something that might be better for you is ice or elevation, ice baths. But when you are adding Advil in to help you with a muscle ache or pain, that might not be the best idea. Now, we know like it can help with a headache. Some things it's really good for, but if it's something like your ankle is swollen, you may want to just put some ice on it instead of taking the Advil.
My doctor tells me to take it for the arthritis.
Well, yeah, you can. There's a variety of different ways to use it. You have to be careful that you don't take it on an empty stomach.
Right.
You know, that it does need to be eaten with medication. So that's another reason why while you're running, it's not always the best thing because it's going to get absorbed in your system. And then it can cause you to have basically like an ulcer or bleeding. There can be detrimental effects of that you're basically create a little hole in your stomach with too much Advil. So there's some research out there. They've looked at some ultra runners, and I'll send the article out to you guys in the newsletter about how ultra runners who over a 50-mile event, those who took Advil versus those who took placebo, that the people who took Advil ended up with acute kidney injuries. And so you can end up with an acute kidney injury anyway in an endurance event because you become really dehydrated, and then you can end up with something called rhabdomyolysis where your muscles are breaking down. Your muscles break down, and that's a big molecule, and your kidneys can't handle it, and then your kidneys shut down. And then you end up in the hospital with some fluids, and hopefully you don't end up on dialysis. It can be a bad thing. So anyway, there are plenty of people out there who run and take drugs, and you guys know from, and when I say drugs, I mean like Advil. Hopefully they're not taking anything stronger than that. But from those of you who've helped at Burning River, some people are putting a whole bunch of stuff in their body. I think there was one time there was a guy who was offering some Percocet or something to somebody. And it's like, do you really need to do that? But sometimes people are so motivated to get through their event that they'll take anything to be able to finish their event. That's not always the smart move. So, but yeah, I think that it's something that we do and we don't necessarily think about. And when you take something as benign as Advil, you might think like, oh, this is going to help me, but in the end, it could be hurting you. So some things to think about. Again, it's hard to measure our hydration sometimes when we're running. And on days like it's been where it's super, super hot, if you were to throw in just a couple Advil on top of that, it could just do a little bit more harm to your body than good. So thinking about it from the perspective of why are you taking it? What are you taking it for? And do you really need it? Does anybody have any stories of when they ran a marathon and they needed to take some Advil or Motrin? I'll tell you mine. My first marathon was going down Market Street, and I had started running with some guy that I had just met on the race. And I was hurting pretty bad, and he was being really nice. He was trying to encourage me. And he's like, do you want some Motrin? And everything in me was like, don't take drugs from a stranger, because, you know, that's how I was raised. I don't know about you guys. Anyway, he hands out his hand with like this pill in it, and everything in me was like, no, don't take it. And then I took it because, oh my God, my head hurt so bad. That's when I learned I needed the visor because the sun was coming up and it was in my eyes, and like I just couldn't handle it. So anyway, that's my story about the nice man who gave me pills in a race. And then I've given people salt pills in races, so I feel like, you know, take one, you give one. So anybody else take Advil or take anything, Motrin, Tylenol? Tylenol is okay. It's a different medication and it does not cause these same kind of issues.
I may or may not taken a preventative leave before every half marathon.
And that would not be a good idea.
Probably not.
It's not a great idea. Right. Right. Anybody else?
So question for you, is it okay to take it afterwards?
So afterwards, as long as you're really hydrated, and yeah, you can. There's some information out there that says it's not going to help you recover as quickly. So again, you have to ask yourself why you're taking it. Are you taking it because of muscle aches and pains, or are you taking it for a headache?
So the tendinitis afterwards, like after I would run, I would take it.
I would use ice instead of Advil.
Okay.
Some of the information out there says that your tendons and muscles are not recovering as fast, and it has to do with prostaglandins and that kind of level of cell biology, and that it's preventing some of these things from going to that area to heal it. So in a weird cycle, we take the Advil thinking that it's helping us, but it's really hurting us and creating more inflammation because it's limiting our body's own system from going in and dealing with the inflammation.
Gotcha.
I know that's kind of a weird way to think about it. I'm going to send you guys some articles you can read in the newsletter too, because it is a confusing cycle of thoughts when we kind of are raised with like something hurts, so you take some Advil. I know from my point of view from high school, I ran and I had a stress fracture. So my mom gave me a bunch of Advil that I just kept in my locker, and I took as much Advil as I wanted. I can't believe I didn't have a GI bleed or something at that point. But yeah, I took Advil like all the time because it hurt when I ran and I kept running. So then I just, well, my mom gave me the Advil to take. So really it's her fault. So, but she didn't know any better. It's just one of those things. You're like, something hurts, you take some Advil. But I just think it's a hard habit to break when, I don't know about you guys, but in my desk drawer at work, there's a bottle of Advil. It's just, something that you take when, I don't take a lot of medication, but if I get a really bad headache or heaven forbid, one of my staff members isn't feeling well, then I'm a drug dealer at work when I'm giving them, hey, do you need some Advil to get through the day? Okay, take these. So.
This is how addicts begin.
Oh, it can also work with chocolate bars sometimes just to get through the day. But
or
so
my
anyway,
mother-in-law's bars from dialysis, right?
Oh yes, those are
protein
delicious.
bars that are free.
And those are very delicious, tasty bars. So, all right. Does anybody else have any questions about medications? You also have to think about cold medications, because sometimes Motrin and ibuprofen is in cold medication. So
The girl that passed away at the Cleveland Marathon a year, 2 years ago, was it Sudafed that she had in her system?
I believe it was. And that was more of a heart related issue.
Yeah, she had an undiagnosed.
Yeah. It's just really hard to know how running or any kind of like sustained physical activity affects you in heat and with medication. So something that maybe she had taken and not had any issues with, and then to make it so close to the end of the race and then collapse and, not be able to be revived is just something that just seems like it just doesn't even make sense. So I think we just have to really think about why we're taking something. Probably like we should really think about what food we're putting in our body, which, just to let you guys know, I discovered yesterday that Giant Eagle has cheese curds, and I didn't realize that they had them. And I love cheese curds. So I ate like that little package said it was 5 servings. I don't think so, but I ate all of them between yesterday and today. So
Brenda, what section are the cheese curds in?
They were kind of over by the deli with all of those like fancy cheeses.
Oh, cheese curds is a fancy cheese.
Not in Wisconsin. Cheese curds are like just normal cheese.
Oh, they're heaven.
Yes.
Did they squeak when you bit into them?
Well, yeah, of course. That's how you know they're good cheese curds.
That's how you know they're fresh.
Yes. So yeah, it's just why did I start talking about cheese curds? Because we were talking about.
Because they're good.
Talk about overdoing it, overconsumption.
There's a little irony that I'm wearing my Chicago Bears shirt today.
So yeah, anytime that we're, doing exercise, consuming something, we got to be thinking about what we're putting in our body. So just get back on track. That when we are putting something in our body, we have to ask why we're doing that. So I guess the same with the Oreos and the ice cream and the apples and the, good stuff. But I think that when it comes to medication, we just really have to think about why we're putting in our body. So obviously this doesn't apply to like things that you take because your doctor prescribed you to take it. So, okay, I'm missing what's going on in the chat here. There's lots of stuff going on. I see everybody smirking. All right, do we want to talk about, we're gonna talk about heat stroke, but let's go around since we're talking about food and talk about what you do eat before a long run. So All right, we're gonna go in the method that I see you guys. So we're gonna talk to Allie. Allie is not doing any long runs right now. Allie, are you running at all?
I'm still running, but like my pace is really slow. So I've just been running for time. Like I'll go out for, like I've been able to keep up like 50 minutes to an hour. So
And how many weeks along are you?
21.
21 weeks. Okay, so what are you eating before you go run?
So I haven't really changed that at all. I normally eat like toast with peanut butter on it. Just because like my stomach can handle it well. I feel like I get like a little protein from the peanut butter. Yeah, that's typically all I do.
Okay. All right, Carrie, what are you eating before the long run?
Well, I have to admit, I really haven't been doing too many long runs this season,
Okay,
but
it doesn't, whatever, your Saturday morning run.
I normally do toast with peanut butter. It's my go-to. But I do that every day. That's like every breakfast is toast with peanut butter or avocado. Just depends if the avocado is ripe. The fallback is peanut butter because I always have peanut butter.
Okay, so special days is avocado. Okay, that's different. All right, Heidi, what are you eating before you go out Saturday mornings?
I do the same thing. I do either wheat toast or a wheat bagel with peanut butter. It's been my go-to for years.
Okay, and that's what works, right? All right.
It does, for sure.
All right, Jeff, what are you eating? Sea salt, let me guess, dates with sea salt and what did you say, cheese? What kind of cheese did you put in the dates?
Like Parmesan cheese, but I haven't done that. I posted it. I eat a yogurt, a banana, and that Vega pre-workout. I posted it in the chat.
Oh yeah, okay.
And by the way, avocado toast with radishes. Oh my, unbelievable.
What about a little bit of salt? You got to put some salt on there.
No, just
No?
right on there, toast it, and then put a little bit of radish. Wow.
Okay, nice. All right, Leanne, you want to tell everybody about your oatmeal?
Since 2008, oatmeal every single morning. Last week, Dr. Chris, he said that oatmeal perhaps wouldn't be great because of the fiber, but I think I just must be used to it. It's like 150 calories worth of oatmeal and a big wallop of peanut butter. But I don't like peanut butter, but I throw it in there for the protein and fat.
Yes, Leanne does not like peanut butter.
Mm-mm.
But
I eat it all the time.
Right. Look how long your hair is. Did you get it cut?
I got more than 3 inches cut off today.
Oh, wow. And a little bit of color, I see.
Dipped it in the red paint.
Nice. Very nice. All right, Terry, you want to tell everybody about your mango preserves and your Terry makes the best breakfast.
Well, it depends on what I have, but it is some kind of preserve, and then the
Wait, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I know there's some kind of airplane or something noise on it. It's the sprouted wheat bread or sprouted, not the wheat, but it's sprouted bread with almond and whatever preserve I have.
Okay. Yeah, that's your go-to. Yes. All right, Mary, what are you eating for breakfast before a long run?
Not gonna lie, as soon as they canceled New York, I kind of fell off the wagon. But what I normally eat, it's one of a couple things. A banana and a protein shake. Sometimes if I'm going somewhere that's not too close to home and a protein shake isn't that convenient, I like those monk packs. Heinen's used to have them, but they haven't had them in a while. You can get them online, but they're like a flavored oatmeal in like a little pouch, kind of like you give little kids with the little twisty thing with like applesauce or whatever. But it is like oatmeal. And they have an apple cinnamon one that's really good. They also have one that's like peach and chia seeds and stuff like that. And those work really well, especially on race morning when you are going to have a long time before you start running. So like maybe on my drive down to Akron, I would have my protein shake and my banana, but I would need something for later, right before we started running. And so that's really portable and it doesn't have to be refrigerated. So that would work really well. So those monk packs.
Cool. All right, Melissa, what are you eating before your run?
Well, I do have to come clean and say that I did try the with the Parmesan and it's really good. Like that was really yummy. So thumbs up on that. But what I normally eat when I don't have dates and Parmesan cheese around is a banana, and then I have protein smoothie packs that are organic and easy to eat and carry. So I usually just do a banana in that.
Okay, that works. Mark, what are you eating in the morning?
I'm along with Leanne, and I have oatmeal, but I put blackstrap molasses on top of it.
Oh my, sounds fancy.
It's pretty basic. It's got a lot of iron in it, so it helps with providing iron to your diet.
Okay, awesome. Jody, what are you eating in the morning?
Well, so like Mark and Leanne, I'm eating something that's not normal for pre-run. I eat cereal before I go out. So usually I eat Raisin Bran Crunch because that's my favorite. I have been known to eat Frosted Flakes as well. But it works for me. Before New York this year, I couldn't find, I forgot my cereal and I had to go just buy something in New York and all I could find was Frosted Flakes. So I had Frosted Flakes before New York Marathon. But it works for me because I'm used to it.
That's cool. That works. All right, Neil, first you have to tell us where you're going and then what you eat for breakfast on a long run. Neil, you got to unmute yourself and then talk to us.
I was driving through a dead zone. I didn't know if you were talking to me. I'm with Leanne and Mark. I eat oatmeal almost every day and put a half a banana, and sometimes I add a little peanut butter to it.
All right, that sounds good. So where are you going?
To a friend's house.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for being with us when you're going on the way to a friend's house. So nice to see you, Neil. Oh, hey, Dean.
What?
I said, hey, you guys look like you had fun this weekend. You guys are having all the fun in your kayaks and everything.
Yes, campaign social distance.
Good job. Good job. All right, Dave, it's good to see you. You joined us. What do you have for breakfast?
First of all, I need to know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, but it looks like you've dialed in and we see your phone.
Yeah, I got a problem with the Zoom thing, I think. But anyway, I've been eating the bananas in the morning. I have my peanut butter with wheat bread. That's what I've been doing. And believe it or not, I had the Pop-Tart cinnamon thing, like from last week, Chris Taylor was talking about. Actually, I do like those Pop-Tarts, so that's what I've been eating before I do my run. That's about it, you know. Oatmeal doesn't really sit well with me. I can eat that during the week, but not really before a run, so, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad
that's about it, you know. Today, of course, I went out in the middle of the day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, it's kind of hot. But I made sure I ate and drank some water.
All right, well, that lends us right to the next topic about heat stroke and exhaustion, which we don't want to have. So let me share my screen really quick. Am I going to be able to do this? Hey, Jeff.
Yes, you can do it.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. How do I do this? I'm trying. Just hang on.
It's okay. So we did a Zoom call.
Here, I think that'll allow you. Try it again.
Oh yeah. This is not what I really want. Can I get to here? Can you guys see this?
It's, oh,
Exhaustion, heat stroke. Got it? Okay. So I posted this on Facebook too, but I think it's always good to go through the signs and symptoms because some of these can be kind of the same. So when we think about it being 90 plus degrees outside and we're running and maybe we're just not feeling super great, you have to start to ask yourself some of these questions. You know, are you feeling like you're faint or dizzy, or do you have this like throbbing headache? And then the key thing is, you know, are you still sweating? So if you're sweating, then you're doing okay, but you might be kind of, again, you're already out running, you're going to be clammy, you're going to be, you know, hot and sweaty. Your pulse rate might be high. So we talked before about heart rate training. Maybe this is a time to really look at your heart rate and see how you're doing, unless you're Jody, because then your heart rate is just always high. So, but if your muscles start cracking, you start to feel like you're really nauseous, and that's kind of abnormal. You know, if you have fluids with you, you should be taking more fluids. It becomes more of an issue when you stop sweating and now your heart rate is still really, really high and you're not feeling good. And that's when it becomes a medical emergency. So thinking about things in terms of, you know, if you're going out, like Dave said, at 1 o'clock when it's really, really hot and the sun is coming out and there's no clouds in the sky, you know, thinking about wearing a hat. There's some thought that maybe long sleeves is better for you, keeps the sun off your body, but that might make you too hot. So thinking about what you would need to do, how much fluid you need to carry with you, and then just like understanding what your body is doing. So yeah, we don't want to get to the point where we have to call 911 because our internal temperature is over 103. So, all right, does anybody, I'm going to stop sharing. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Brenda, is there a good way to take your temperature to know if they talk about your core temperature being too high, other than having like carrying a thermometer? Is there any good way to know?
I don't necessarily think so. I think it's more of your own internal, like if you feel like you're throbbing and you're not sweating and you're really, really, really hot, so you would be flush at that point. It's just a tricky thing, and 103 temperature is really, really high. But I'll tell you what, Monday, I went into work at like 9 o'clock. Just walking into the parking lot, we now have thermal temperature checks. And I set the alarm off because I was too hot.
Oh,
it was
wow.
only 9 in the morning walking in, and I don't know what the threshold. Allie, do you think it's like 103? No, 101, I think, is the threshold for temperature.
I think so. Yeah, close to that.
Like 101. So I was already like, it was it was taking my temperature and I was over 101. And I was fine. So she then had to do the little thermal thing where they like, check your forehead. But yeah, so I don't know. It's not an easy thing to tell. Just like it's not easy to tell if you're dehydrated. Like, how do you know you're really dehydrated? And so that's what sneaks up on people. So that lends us into my next topic, which is so important, is the road ID, or some way that you are identifiable. So does everybody have some type of, Allie, I really hope you're labeled, that if something happens to you, that somebody knows to call somebody, right? Because there's 2 of you now, so you have to make sure you're both taken care of.
Yeah, and I think even like some of the Garmin's now will have like if you're have like a normally like high heart rate or low heart rate, you have like an emergency contact and it'll like notify them of like your heart rate and like roughly where you're at.
Do you have that kind of fancy of a Garmin? I do not.
I do. It's like on the new Forerunners, I think. Or I got it like a year and a half ago, so however old that one is.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. So the parameters are in there. So in case your heart rate is too high or too low, and then it sends it to somebody that you put in there.
Yeah, kind of like if you have like an emergency contact on your iPhone, I think it works like kind of similar.
Okay. Does anybody else have that? Jeff, you have a newer Garmin because you guys kind of got it at the same time. Did you set that up? Okay, good. All right. Oh, Leanne, you just got a new Garmin. Did you set that feature up?
I don't know. It is a Forerunner, but I can't remember. But I have it also because now I'm channeling Jody and I wear a couple watches and it's on my Apple Watch.
If your heart rate goes down too far or too high?
No, not that, but the contacts are on there.
But what if you're unconscious?
Well, I could set it so if I fall, they'll send help, but I turned that off.
Fell too many times.
And I bet it sends the email to you, Brenda, who's running really close to her.
No, I wish. The running part.
Leanne, do you have a road ID?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got one like almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They posted the road ID thing. They also make a little thing. I, of course, don't have it on this watch, but there's a little, the whole identification and all your information is right here. It slips on your band. So you don't have to put it on your shoe because I think Terry has it on her shoe. I don't remember, but you can put one right here then, right on your band.
I have it, but then I moved shoes around, so then I don't have it on the shoes that I'm
Jody.
wearing that day too. You know, that's better on the watch.
Why don't you put it on one of your watches? There's only 4.
I know.
I think the watch has to be a certain size to do.
Yeah, that was my problem. It didn't fit mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like man-sized watches, I feel like. All right, what else do people have besides a road ID? Does anybody have anything different than that? Or the Garmin? So I just think it's really important to be labeled so that, hey, Dave, do you have something? Do you have a road ID? Dave? Dave disappeared.
I predict Dave has it in a plastic bag with a bologna sandwich. It's a little note.
Dave, are you labeled in any way? So if you keel over at 1 o'clock in the afternoon that people know who you are?
Sorry about that. I had to unmute my phone. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. No, I just wear the NeoFit tag. That's all.
Okay. All right. Well, at least you have that.
And I got my phone with me, you know, I mean, I guess people could call if they need to, you know.
The key is to have that like emergency. How do we get to that like emergency? I guess if you can't open somebody's phone, there's that emergency button. So everybody needs to make sure your emergency contacts are filled out in your phone, because that's one of the key things. So, all right, Melissa, do you have a road ID or any kind of identification?
I don't, but I do have an iPhone where it's got the emergency contacts in it and they're identified, but I'll have to figure out how to get that to work. And I'll have to get a little road tag thing now that I've been called out by Coach Brenda.
I just think that it's important that when, if you were to roll into the emergency room, you know, because you've like heat stroke has caused you to pass out, you know, they need to know who you are. So having yourself labeled, I think is a smart thing to do, so that they know. You can put on there if you have any medical issues or your birth date or your birth year, I think, and then some phone numbers for people. Unfortunately, I put my family and they don't answer their phone. So Leanne is actually on mine as well because she wouldn't answer her phone. And what are you showing us? Oh, I'm one of your emergency contacts? Oh,
yeah. You think my mom's going to drive a freeway?
Yeah,
no.
I go get Angie and take her. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I will answer my phone.
So a road ID has a lot of, oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, a road ID has a lot of great information, including like allergies and things like that they can look up. But once we're able to start attending races again, there's usually a place on the back of your bib for you to write emergency contact information. And that's the first place a race is going to look. And you should have that when you register as well. There's a lot of them when you register for a race, they'll have a place for you to put an emergency contact too. But if you pass out at the side of the road, it's really easy for them to look on the back side of the bib and contact somebody.
Yeah. All right, so we talked about how we should not consume anti-inflammatories or NSAIDs. We should drink a lot of water, and we should have ourselves labeled really well, so in case heat exhaustion or heat stroke strikes us, that people know who we are and who they need to call. So I feel like those are kind of important things right now when the heat index was, I don't know, almost 100, or it's going to be 90 to 100 tomorrow. I mean, it's like ridiculously hot. So we have to be really cautious when they're running.
Brenda, I know last summer we were questioning whether EMTs know to like look at shoe tags and know how to like open the different types of phones and get the contacts. Did we ever like find someone that could confirm that they know to look for those things?
I did not confirm with anybody, but I know that I don't know, in our ER, people find out that information. So I think that by the time we get to the emergency department, we've got people pretty skilled at going through your belongings, that's for sure, and they're going to see a shoe tag. I know our experience with George when he collapsed on the towpath was, I think, again, people were just kind of panicking, trying to figure out who he was, and they didn't think to look at his shoe. But I don't know. But we don't have green does or at the hospital. I mean, just some of our traumas.
Road ID has a way to put in data that's tied to your road ID. So you can put in all kinds of information about known allergies, you're missing some body part, whatever, surgeries, whatever. So you would think that somebody would be able to figure that out pretty quickly. I know our police department and our fire department is able to pretty much break all the major phones, the emergency part. They all know how to access the emergency part. So they're able to identify somebody pretty quickly based on that information. So I assume they all are like that.
I think now that most people have some type of cell phone, they're used to looking at that information. Yeah, the big thing is just to make sure that we're all safe out there. Is anybody not running with their phone? I mean, sometimes I don't run with my phone, but for the most part, if it's a long run, then I would be running with my phone. So
if it's a long run, I do. If it's a short run.
Yeah. All right, Carrie, do you want to tell us about, is it next week that we have book club?
Next week is book club. So we're discussing Girl, Wash Your Face. And then I did post another poll for picking the next book. So I added all the ones that people had nominated before. So that list is kind of already started, but you can definitely add more things to the list. And you can you can vote now or vote and change your vote later. So you don't like, you can pick something now and then come back in a few days. And if someone added something, you can change your mind. So I think I had said on through the 13th, I think that was the date, people can keep adding options to choose from. And then on the 16th, voting will close. So you have a few days to add stuff and then a few days to be able to go back and check the list and select what you want.
And then, so at the book club discussion next week, we'll know what the next book is. Okay.
I was thinking maybe once we get closer to that date, you can like eliminate ones that weren't voted for or that have the least amount of votes so that people can reallocate their vote, because we're splitting votes between right now at least 7.
Right.
And you're saying if not more, and
right.
You know, anything more than 2 is not really a vote.
Yeah, we need rank voting, but Facebook doesn't allow for that. But yeah, I could do that. That's a good idea. I could, yeah, put it down to the last 2, I guess, or last 2 or 3, and then people can revote for those.
And Melissa, I know you want to join us, right, for book club, but we might need to, maybe Carrie, you can email Melissa about what books we're kind of voting on.
Sure.
You can get your vote added in as well.
Thank you.
Before we
I'm
decide.
sorry, Carrie.
What's that?
But I'm sorry, I'm such a pain with.
Oh no, no.
No, we want to include as many people as possible, and just because you're not on Facebook doesn't mean that you don't get to be included. So, and then next week it's Thursday night at 7:30. I think, right? Okay.
What book is that again?
Girl,
I'll have to read it this weekend.
Yeah.
It's quick. I think I read it in 2 days. It's really quick.
That's coming from
Girl with what?
Books. So that's saying a lot. And then Jody is reading a book. So like these are all, this pandemic has brought out people's reading.
I know, it's amazing. I'm voting for Little Fires Everywhere because I've started that one already, so I can be caught up for the next one. It's actually really good.
So
I keep voting for that one because I got that one. So I keep interrupting it to read the other ones.
So it's because it's set in Cleveland, so it's kind of cool. I mean, they talk about going to like Heinen's, and they mention all these places that we know. Like it's okay. I'll just share one quick funny thing because they talk about I can't remember where they were going, but they were talking about Randall Park Mall, I think it's called, or that old one, and she referred to the 24-hour daycare that's near the racetrack there. Does anyone know that? Oh my God, I think it's the funniest thing because every time I go on that street, I think it's hysterical that there's a 24-hour daycare. And it's in this book. I'm like, that's so funny. She talks about the 24-hour daycare, because who has a 24-hour daycare?
I don't know.
Apparently near a racetrack, you need one.
My first job was at Randall Mall, and I took the bus there.
Wow. And you don't remember the 24-hour daycare?
No.
So the Randall Park Mall.
But I remember the racetrack.
Yeah, the Randall Park Mall opened in 1976 to great fanfare here. It was a total 70s mall.
It was the biggest mall in the country at the time.
It was the biggest mall in the country, and they brought in all these stores that you've never heard of, but they were kind of like, wow, we never had those stores. So it was a very big deal. The 24-hour daycare may also be, I don't know if that was set at that time, but that's also a casino now because of Thistledown.
Right.
So that operates.
I don't know. I'm not even actually sure if it's still 24 hours. It was 24 hours until a couple years ago.
Huh.
It doesn't say that anymore.
All of Randall Mall was torn down in favor of an Amazon warehouse now.
Yes,
so the biggest mall became that, but it was a very big deal. And I remember my parents went to the opening, like there was some big party. I had to stay home. I remember what a big deal it was.
I think this book is like, early 90s, I think.
I'm just impressed that, we have stretched our legs with running, but also stretched our eyeballs with reading. So I think it's just a really good thing. It's like expanding your horizons a little bit and just doing something a little bit different. And then the fact that if we were in normal times, we'd probably all be so busy that like we couldn't all drive on a Thursday night to meet someplace and do book club. But the fact that we can just do this on Zoom and we had a really good discussion last time. I thought that was pretty awesome. So looking
I
forward.
finally finished that book last week.
Yeah, I was thinking, do we want to open up like a online discussion for people, just like people who finished the book late or whatever? You could like still talk about the book, the past book.
We can create an event for the book thing in the group, and then people can post on the event page. So only if you RSVP to the event will you see all the posts.
Oh, okay. So there are events.
You can create an event in a group, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there already is one. So then we could just
then we can just post on that.
Just start if people want to continue to have conversation about it. Because every now little things pop into my head about the previous book that I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this part. Like, did anyone else like think that was weird or funny or?
Well, I think Jody needs to post a picture of her. Did you get a picture of you and Dina Castor at your event?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do have it. Yeah.
Right. So, that last book club was Jody telling us all about how she met the celebrity, and that's fun.
I've run with an Olympian.
Yes,
she ran like 3 miles with me. That was crazy.
That's awesome.
It must have been like walking to her, but.
Let's talk about Saturday. So Saturday is 13 miles for the full group and 7 miles for the half group. How's everybody feeling about that? I think it's going to be like a little cooler, right? 85, not 90. So what's everybody planning on doing?
I still have a route where I'm just making sure I get back to my car, within 7 miles at the most. And then I'm going to get a vest once we hit 15, I think.
I think
it's time.
Yep.
Yeah. Saturday looks like it's going to be 77 and 70% chance of storms is what WeatherBug is currently telling me. I'm sure Coach Terry has a more accurate or forecast.
Well, I've been so busy, haven't looked at the weather forecast, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I do know there's chance of rain the whole week.
Okay. So again, planning for getting out there and maybe getting wet and how that would affect you. So anybody else have good routes planned for coming back to their cars?
Not yet, but if it's really hot, I've been having to drink like every 4 or 5 miles. So I'm having to drink even more frequently, plan for it.
Even with your vest on?
Even with the vest.
Mm-hmm.
I overheat really easily, so I get really, really thirsty.
I do too. Does anybody have a cooling towel that actually works? Because I think I've bought like 3 or 4 of them and none of them really work.
No, I think that, Burning River, those bandanas that are made where you stuff the ice in them are pretty cool.
That would be those were really cool. I should look for those. In that book with Dina Castor, she had an ice vest before she started running. Maybe we should get one of those.
That might cost more than your vest. And then you take everything out of your freezer so you can put your running vest in.
Yeah, but those bandanas are really cool. Like, those people had sleeves where they would stuff the ice down the sleeves too.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess if you're doing laps where you're going back home, you can grab more ice, or you have to create a cooler with a whole bunch of ice in it so that you have that available too. But
those ice vests worked really good, by the way.
do you have one, Dave?
I was saying I had one of those Burning River ice bandanas.
Oh, okay.
And those work really good. I mean, you just put the ice right in there and you wrap it around your neck, and as it melts, it just kind of goes over your back and over your chest and whatever you need to do,
Is it a special bandana, Dave?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah,
Go
they're
ahead.
made, they're so just a special way so that there's a hole, I don't know, in the side, but then when you put the bandana on, the point part is down and all the ice is in that and it's not, doesn't fall out. Because
Yeah, you
Oh,
gotta
Jeff,
tie
you're
it up.
amazing. Look, look at that. I
So,
love
yeah.
the ice vest.
Look at the ice vest on there. It's literally a vest full of ice.
That's hysterical. It's
Yeah.
rechargeable though. Looks like.
So I have something that is like some kind of foamish stuff, and it just turns that like really cool after you run for a while. It gets all the liquid in it, and then it turns cool. I don't know what it is, but I've used it. It's kind of like almost like foam or something in there, and then it just expands, and then it gets cool.
That sounds kind of like a miracle. You sweat and then it cools you off.
Yes, it's a miracle. I'll perform another miracle in a few minutes. No, I'll find it and just show everybody, but I don't know if it has a label on it.
Is this part of your Israeli whatever?
No. Mm-mm. Drop that.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to figure out how what makes you cool. So you know that like if you put ice in the palm of your hands, then you feel cooler. So things like that, your palms or your hands, those are things that will definitely cool you down. But again, when it's 90 degrees, close to 100 degrees, you just maybe need to wait until later at night or go early in the morning. I think early tomorrow morning though is still going to be like 80 degrees. So I don't know what the right time to run is.
I've discovered that one side of my street is shaded on, in the morning, and then the other side is shaded at night in the evening. So depending upon when I'm going out, like I'll pick the side that's shaded, and honestly, that helps a ton.
Yeah, so, and this bandana is only 20 bucks, and it has that kind of, yeah, the stash pockets, I guess, for ice. That's one way to refer to it.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
It's definitely, yeah, something to try, and stays cool for a little while, I think, so. All right, that was kind of all I had tonight. Does anybody have anything else they want to chat about? I just love Wednesdays, get to see everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. I know it's hard to stay on task with the schedule, and especially since, our goals maybe are reshifted. So that's something we'll talk about next week. Are there any other topics of interest that you guys really want to kind of go over?
Hey, Brenda.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I mean, I know since all these marathons are all canceled and virtual, I mean, I'm having a hard time just thinking, I'm not going to sign up for any of those. And I'm really debating if I'm actually going to run anything, I mean, I've been trying to stick with the program, but it's like today, I leave and I go and I run and I'm thinking, well, do I really need to do all this? And I don't want to start a whole another topic right now, but we could maybe talk about it next week. But I'm just trying to stay positive on it, and I will admit the heat has been not easy to run in lately, but that in the combination of knowing that I'm just going to do some virtual run by myself, it's almost like, well, why should I even do it? I may cut it in half. I don't know, but
Dave, I think you bring up a really good point, because I think we're in such a strange time right now where it feels like everything is normal, but everything is not normal. And I know I'm the Debbie Downer, but the number of cases is going up. Cuyahoga County is in red. Things are not looking good, right? So we don't do ourselves this favor when we kind of act like, well, everything is normal. I should just do everything like normal, and but it's not normal. And then I think that we do ourselves a disservice when we kind of, our emotions are going all over the place, right? But then we don't acknowledge that really our emotions are going all over the place, and that then that's kind of normal too, but it just doesn't feel good. So I don't know about you guys. It just is such a weird thing to kind of come to terms with, in the sense that it's summertime, you want to go run with your friends. I would love to have us all go eat some ice cream right now and hang out and talk, but it's like, we can't do that. And yet you go to look on Facebook, and what do you see? You see all these people going on vacation, all these people who are hanging out and having a really good time. And I see pictures of all these people running together. And then I'm just really torn, but I don't know. It's just this weird dynamic of feeling like things are normal because I get up and go to work every day. Our hospital is full of all these people who are just regularly sick. And now we're ramping back up with more people with COVID, and it's just so strange. So yeah, what are we doing? I don't know. I got to tell you, like, I just do not know, because I don't know how my hospital is going to keep doing what it's doing while we're going to have more people with COVID admitted. So I don't know. I don't have
I think it's a
any.
good topic for next week, though, to talk about motivation, though, and what we can do. I still like the idea of having some kind of race at the end of the season for just us. Something to look forward to. I mean, not together. I mean, I don't mean.
No, I think that that's something good too, in the thought of like an end, because otherwise it's like, well, what are we doing, and how does this end? Because everyone just kind of doing their own virtual thing. It's hard to kind of to picture what's going to happen. I think as the season has kind of gone on, it's like, well, what are we going to do? How is this going to work? And it's just all evolving. I'm really have a lot of respect for like the Columbus Marathon, who's just canceled, and Akron for canceling and making it virtual, so that people aren't getting their hopes, way up there and then having things canceled at the last minute. So I think that that's what's hard, is shifting our goals and shifting our focus. And maybe the focus does not have to be 26 miles. It could be 20 miles. It could be 18 miles. It could be 13. It could be 10. It could be whatever we want it to be, and that's okay. I think that's the hard part too, is like, we're so kind of goal driven by a race, and now we have to shift to something else that makes it meaningful. And how do we make it meaningful? And we definitely need to talk about that next week, because somebody else needs to have the answers, because I do not have any answers. That's for sure. So, okay, everybody think about that, and where your motivation is coming from, what your goal event is, how you're trying to keep yourself stuck to it, what daily habits maybe that you're doing to kind of help you stay on track. So the small goals that get us to the big goals. So I think that would be great. All right. Anybody else have anything? All right. We'll see you guys all next week then. It was fun hanging out with you. And Neil hanging out with us for a little while on his drive. Bye, guys.
Bye. Have a good week.